Our second week of the tournament sees the action move to the jagged peaks and forested valleys of the continent of Amerish. The opening matches saw the US servers walk away victors in the snows of Ezimir. Now the European servers look to even the score in these rugged mountains. Miller will start from the eastern warp gate as the Vanu Sovereignty, and Emerald will start from the western warp gate as the New Conglomerate. Barrack Electrical Station, just outside the neutral southern warp gate, is the first of our 6 starting fights. An enclosed entranceway with copious amounts of cover leads to a surprisingly open single cap point room, if you can get past the choke points. The base's outside courtyards and terraces also prove an excellent playground for light assaults. The only neutral major facility to start this fight, Tumas Tech Plant is a crucial base in the south of the continent. Tech plants are some of the largest bases in Planetside 2, and while their design encourages fighting both inside and out, look for servers to use air to drop squads on the gun deck or inside of its massive cathedral, and move to secure the base without ever touching the outlying shield generators. The victor here will be able to begin a slow march into the other server's southern territory, potentially cutting them off entirely from the middle of the map. The middle of Amerish is dominated by an impressive 600-meter peak that has inspired many not fit for broadcast colloquialisms. The mountain is controlled by 3 bases, but the crown jewel is the ascent. A multiple capture point outpost with a tower spawn room, the points at the ascent are spread out and varied. The A capture point cave is one of the most beautiful locations on Araxis, yet it's deceptive in its claustrophobia. There are several entrances, many well hidden in the rock face, and the interior is large enough for light assaults to hide in the rafters with nasty surprises. The other capture points are outside, clinging to the cliff face away from the protection of the central tower, and players will need to move in the open to capture and hold more than one point. Araxicon Network Hub, situated in a valley to the north of the mountain, is a crucial connection for the northern sections of the map, but its location makes it especially vulnerable to air. The capture point lies upstairs in a powerhouse building, and numerous walls restrict access from the outside. The exterior courtyards are deceiving and can lead attackers toward dead ends and cul-de-sacs with no access to the point. Options for sunder replacement are also scarce, and most choice spots are susceptible to aerial bombardment. The 3 capture points at the NC Arsenal are located in warehouse buildings surrounding a central pit with vehicle spawn. The pad leads to a tunnel with plenty of cover to drive your vehicles out, but few accesses to the points. There are no covered hiding spots for sunders, and most placements are close to the main road, proving vulnerable to armor and air. However, once on the points, the warehouses hold easy choke points to fend off attacks, but defenders must remember to secure the roof access as well. The capture point at North Grove Post sits in a powerhouse building in the upstairs hallway. The base consists of several outbuildings nestled into the surrounding forest and gullies. Sunderers are easily hidden from view here, but attackers will need to push inside the buildings if they want to take the base. These are the 6 starting fights spread throughout the hostile mountainous terrain of Amerish. It will be up to the winner of these first battles to try and capitalize on their position and push the enemy back. Many of these bases become much harder to take once the base is owned by the enemy, so waiting to take them later in the match is a risky gamble to take.
Planetside Battles on the Jaeger server present the final battle of Round 2. Simulcast on the Planetside channel. Commentary provided by Farah and Redolent. Additional casting provided by Lanzer. Odin's Pride will be the referee for this battle. And now, Twitch viewers and hardcore gamers, hold on to your frame rate! 2 hours of heart-pounding explosions and lasers in the mountains of Amerish for the honor of their servers in a rising position in the round-robin tournament. In the Western Warp Gate, with 288 players from 20 outfits, led by Roy Awesome from the Test outfit, and fresh off their first win in this tournament, wearing blue armor and fighting for freedom, Emerald United! In the Eastern Warp Gate, with 288 players from 24 outfits, and led by Morfielder, and looking for their first win of this tournament, clad in purple spandex, and fighting for Vanu, Miller Alliance!
Thank you, Poonanners, as always. As always, an amazing introduction. So here we are again, Redolent, back on Amerish, this time Emerald versus Miller. Why don't you explain what's going to go happen today?
Well, we are in the second group of matches for our ServerSmash tournament. We had our first group of matches on Ezimir, and we've now moved into Amerish. The next phase will be over on Hassan, and it's 288 versus 288 to eventually get into the championship 4 weeks from now.
Yes, so we are, I guess you could say we're halfway, just after halfway today. So we're looking forward to it. And today, Miller looking to get their first win, Emerald undefeated. And I guess we'll just bring up our team today in kind of an overline graph. Poonanners did an exceptional job, however, of saying it out for us. So I'm your caster today, main caster's Fire, Redolent's my co-caster. Statistics today are done by Planetside 2 Alerts Maelstrom. Our referee today will be Odin's Pride. Basic rules for today is capture as much territory as you can possibly get your hands on within a 2-hour period. There is, however, potential for a tie, and in a tie scenario, whoever owns the more bases or the majority of Tuma's Tech Plant, the Ascent, or NC Arsenal, i.e. someone's going to own 2 out of 3, they will be declared the winner, because I find it highly unlikely that one of these bases will remain neutral by the end of 2 hours. What do you think, Redolent?
Well, it's also important to note there that tiebreaker only comes into effect if the territory is exactly
the same.
Equal.
49 to 49 is what it is. So we'll see how that is. Then overall, our round robin tournament is that every server's playing every server. So we're in round 2 out of 3 rounds. Matches are 288 versus 288, and we're taking place on the event server Jaeger. Today we're on Amerish, and the top 2 servers assigned by wins, points, and then server performance will go on to play in a sort of championship match. Right, that's all that out of the way.
That tiebreaker for the championship is becoming more and more interesting. Now that Cobalt has won, that opens up a lot of possibilities. If you look just at Cobalt and Connery after last match, because Cobalt won, Cobalt is 2 percentage points ahead of Connery, only 2 percentage points ahead in the tiebreaker for territory control. So it's going to come all down to that final match. And obviously things can get a little bit simpler if Miller wins today. If Miller wins today, it's win and you're in. You win next week and you get into the championship game. Yeah. Things are a lot more complicated with numbers and things like that if Emerald wins, because then there's 3 servers and you have to it's based on territory control and everything like that. So it's looking a lot like college football or baseball.
Looking at all the numbers. Tell you, why don't you drop down and go speak to the people below in TeamSpeak and grab our representatives, and I will talk about some of the stats we have today while you're out. So stats today that we're showing, we've got our good old Trust and Faithful map timeline. So this will be showing us basically as bases flip and as they go along, so that doesn't look great at the moment, but it's very, very helpful for showing the flow of the game over our time period. Have our kill graph. This will just basically showing statistics, numbers, who's getting what kills, numbers, that type of stuff in live time. We'll also have our kill bar. This will be total kills, death, TKs, and then color specific. So purple today is Vanu, that is Miller. We'll see kills, death, TKs, and then we'll see kill, death, TKs for the new conglomerate, which is Emerald. We have our slider bar. It will give us updates on base defenses, saves, and we're moving back and forth, showing us the flow of the battle and the progress. This will be up for most of the stream, that only thing. Other things we can bring up is our leaderboard. We currently have names. It's working today, so it's good. have top players, skills, top outfit performance. We'll have the weapons. I'd be very, very impressed if the Orion was in top today, so we'll see what happens there. And we'll also have some vehicle stats, see if one server favours air more than any of the others. So that's our kind of stats for today. Right, it looks like we have possibly have our interviewers up above. I think maybe. Oh, just jump up and say hello. Hello, guys. Hello, Angie. Hello, is Chafe here? I think he's muted.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, all looking forward for today.
Certainly.
I think Master Chief is currently
AFK for lunch, apparently, in TeamSpeak. Well, there you go. Well, yeah, he has to keep his strength up. Nanners, why don't you take away? Angie, are you representative today for Miller?
For interviews, I'm not able to do interviews for Miller.
You are doing the interviews for Miller, congrats. Nanners, why don't you take it away? Negator's here as well, so it's all in your hands, Nanners. You can interrogate our budding potential players and see what their intimate strategies are.
You got it. All right. Negator and Angie, I'd like to thank you for putting time in and energy to get these players together from what is surely going to be a brutal battle. I know we can't talk too much about the strategy that your teams are going to put into play tonight, but we can talk about what it took to prepare. So, Angie, can you tell us about the time it took and the methods that you employed to select your force commander and to collect your outfits, build a roster, and begin planning your strategy?
The first thing was we had a meeting to assess the interest of the outfits, and there's over 40 outfits to put the names down. Anyone who wanted to put the name of a force commander had the opportunity to do so at the meeting. There were 2, and we all the outfits voted on the guy that they wanted, which was Morpholder, and then he was selected. We went again with the randomized selection rule, so that everyone gets a fair chance to play. And we feel it's the best way that everyone gets included in ServerSmash. You know, there are other ways of doing it, but we feel it's the best way for our server at the moment. In
So
terms
full-on
of time,
democracy.
yeah, we would let the outfits choose how they want to select their team, basically, because it's their team basically. It's not we just administrate it really. So.
Can you tell us anything about tools you use for managing your rosters and dealing with failures like disconnects and voice over IP failures?
We have a list of reserves.
Zodin's Pride on all call. Combatants, you are able to access Amerish. You may get onto Amerish, but please stay within the bubble.
Remind me to mute him. Thank you, Odin's Pride, for telling us we can all come on Amerish.
So, yeah, we basically have like like Bazinio's doing the accounts. We have everyone is obviously assigned to account. We have a list of reserves. In the event of anyone dropping, the platoon leader reports to Bazinio, given his platoon name and his squad, and the replacement is pretty much instantaneously on, given the accounts of the last guy. But on Jaeger, there isn't many disconnects, so generally he's redundant tonight.
What did y'all do to try to build a picture of your battle strategy in order to coordinate that between your other players or other outfit leaders?
Morphodor basically picked his team, and once he formulated tactics for both warp gates, and once we got the coin toss sorted out, he basically went a strategy with the guy posing as the commander for the other warp gate, basically. So, like, if I do this, what's your move to it? Okay, if I do this, and playing out each detail, and hopefully it'll pay off today. You know, we'll see what happens. There's only so many pieces you can hit at once, so we'll see what happens and how it goes.
Well, okay. One more question. Off the top of your head, or if you can recall from some of those meetings, early meetings, what were some of the challenges that y'all were planning on facing on this continent in your starting position that had y'all concerned or excited?
I think we've been given a chance to play an Amerish, which is a new map. It's never been played until last night, never been played before. So we really had no idea in terms of what's going to be like in a proper match. Estimate has been played to death, and you've seen all the moves, but Amerish is completely new, and it's an opportunity to try out different strategies and see what works, what doesn't work, and he was watching Cobalt Connery last night, and obviously he saw some stuff to hopefully put into tonight.
All right, Negator, to you, I have a lot of basically the same questions. I want you to tell us about the time taken, the methods employed by the members of your server to select the leader, collect the outfits, build a roster, and begin planning your battle strategy.
Well, we first had a flash jousting contest, and the winner of that one, they get to be the force lead. And that actually ended up being really awesome. So he's leading Reddit to victory. At least for Emerald. But in reality, we had two. We normally have 2 lead-up meetings. One where everybody shows up and pitches what numbers they may bring. We start to slot what they promise into the 288 slots. What's that? 6 platoons. And then the second meeting, they confirm. We start slotting reserves, and then we slot in reserves about an hour prior. Obviously, it's a lot more chaotic than all that, but. For the force lead, though, we do a quick vote based on or from each of the reps from the participating force. And it's normally we get a pretty tight community, so normally only a few people throw their hat in the ring each time, and we're all fully confident in all those guys that step up. So we all know Roy. He talks a lot, but he knows what he's done. So.
Now, what was your process for collecting a strategy for this match? Did y'all just talk to the other outfits about their strategies, look at past videos of smashes? What happened?
Well, for this match in particular, we played on this one before, and we played in the same work gate before, so a lot of it was already done for us. We tweaked a lot of where we were sending folks, but we get all the outfits together, we get all the outfit reps together, so now we got 20, 30 people. We kind of talk through the strat for each lane, and how many bodies we think we're going to need to throw into it. Follow that up with contingency plans based on how they respond, who's going to be called off from nearby areas to respond in case they throw more into the locations that we weren't expecting. And yeah.
Were there any particular challenges that y'all were expecting and having to come up with plans to deal with for this continent and starting Warp Gate?
Well, initially each side always commits a pretty even roster across the entire front line, and that always goes to crap in the first 10 minutes when you realize the other side put 2 platoons on a location that you're only putting 1, sitting at a cross level over there, and it's a chaotic, hectic, fun mess listening to command chat for the first 10 minutes.
All right. Angie, back to you. What were some of your early challenges when you were trying to get everybody coordinated for this match?
Doing a selection was one of the most challenging ways of doing it. We had sort of randomized. We basically gave them 2 options, which is either randomized one or the MLG option, which is picking your best team. And there's a bit of it's a lot closer than last time in terms of voting. That was really challenging to get people discuss that for about half an hour. A little bit of drama, but we talked out and everyone was happy with the result. That was probably the hardest for us. Just get. There's a lot of opinions on how you should do stuff and how you should select a team, and you got to try and take everyone's opinions into account and ultimately still put a team out. It's fair for everyone.
I have a question for both servers here. Yesterday, the Fun Police put up a really intimidating number in the pumpkin hunt, and I want to know what are your strategies to try and deal with the Fun Police in the pumpkin hunt that might happen today.
We have a shoot to kill policy on all TR.
So our air platoon is actually all rocket pods initially, and they're not going to go to where enemy areas. They're actually going to pumpkin hunt for the first hour or so, farm pumpkins.
We will be trying to track that.
I had a question about reviewing past performance. Negator, you said that y'all played on Amerish before. Did y'all look at any of the past videos or performances and tweak based off of that?
So yeah, obviously we all, any ServerSmash you can generally, any ServerSmash going on, you can bet on most of Emerald's normal leadership watching it and kind of commentating on it. and what we would have done or what we think can be improved upon. So yeah, we watched our own. We collected streams in the past and watched our own to see what we could have done better. We watched the one yesterday between was it Connor and Cobalt?
Yeah.
And try to pick out weaknesses that maybe we can improve upon or things they did well that we could also implement.
Hey, all right. Angie, I got a question about y'all doing much the same thing, looking at your past performance in the previous ServerSmashes as well as performance on Amerish. Have y'all looked at some of your past videos and looked for areas of improvement or things that you're going to change this time around?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at like what we did well the last match against Conway in terms of like not in terms of the map, but in terms of what our forces on the ground did well and what we could have done better, you know, and improving on that, little things like that. In terms of the match, Morpholo, you know, watched first time on the map, first time on the map, but he looked at, you know, awesome. No, Morpholo watched last match, and you know he'll have seen you know what Cobalt and Connery did, and you know and in relation to what he's planned to do stuff like that, and maybe pick up a couple of things that he missed or something like that. But yeah, it's always good to watch the match and see what the server's doing and see the reasoning behind it, and you know and see how it works out. Because you know if one faction you know completely goes in the north and takes it, and it's like, okay, that worked. You know, maybe that's worth trying on. It gives you a lot of ideas, you know, other ideas and different viewpoints, which is always good, really, for a match.
Well, that's really good to hear because we've noticed that Cobalt did much that they would have shown massive improvement with each match, and considering how well that's worked out for them, we're expecting to see much the same from you guys, and to see that sort of marked improvement that makes the European gamers so feared as they are. Well, Farah, any other words?
No, I'm just wondering if Emerald or Miller have any words for each other.
Yeah, I'd just like to say good luck, guys. You know, may the best server win. Miller server, best server. And so on.
Oh man, good luck, buddy. We'll see you afterwards.
You good luck, mate. All the best.
Okay, let's go back to our streaming channel. Okay. It's much appreciated for the interview, guys, and we'll talk to you at the end. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Odins, do you have your referee speech ready?
I most certainly do, guys.
Okay, whenever you're ready, please take us away with our ref speech.
I'd love to. Combatants, this is Odin's Pride on All Call. I will be your referee for this match today. Please pay careful attention. I will go over the match rules. All participants should have been informed about these already. I have final say on all matters of the events. All concerns during the event should be brought to the attention of your server rep. The server reps will then bring all matters to me, the game referee. Today's server reps are Ange from INI for Miller and Master Chafe from Emerald. The game referee is responsible for timekeeping of the event, and the final result of the event is also my responsibility. The objective of today's event is to capture as much of Amerish as possible within a 2-hour time limit. The winner is the server with the most territory at the end of these 2 hours, as determined by the in-game territory control graph. There will be no overtime. There are no immediate gameplay restrictions. Play the game as it is meant to be played. Today for Amerish, there are a couple specific things. One, Rockside Outlook is out of play for the match. The territory may be traversed, but the capture point must remain neutral and the terminals and turrets have been destroyed. For the tiebreaker on Amerish, if after 2 hours of territory control it is exactly the same, the winner will be determined by which server holds the majority of the following territories: the NC Arsenal, the Ascent, and Tumas Tech Plant. Every player should also have their character number listed before their name on TeamSpeak. So for example, if your character is ServerSmash TR 316, you should put the number 316 in front of your name on TeamSpeak. A very important point to note, please do not delete any characters from the accounts you have been given. If you delete a character, the character cannot simply be recreated with battle rank or certs. You will also not be given another account, and you and your outfit may face further consequences. Please report any problems with your characters or accounts to your server rep so we can keep track of them. All participants are required to remain on the event continent, this being Amerish, during the entire match. You may not leave to a different continent for any reason. If you have account problems or need to be replaced, contact your server rep. Reserves must check in with your server representatives before subbing into the game. Cheating, exploits, hacking, or any real-life enemy team sabotage will disqualify your entire outfit and may impact your outfit's participation in future hosted events. The match will start at the full hour. You will receive a countdown notice on all call from me. You are not allowed to leave the warp gate until the match starts. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you, Lorenz. Always helpful with the ref speech. So that's that clear. Now we've got a thing. Rock Slide Outlook, out of play. If there's a tie at 49-49 in the unlikely event of that happening, the majority owner of Tumas Tech Plant the Ascent and NC Arsenal will dictate who is the winner. So, here we are again, another ServerSmash, 7 minutes to go, and we're looking at the base layouts. We've got it flipped this time, so NC's on the west and VS is on the eastern. Is that going to make any difference, do you think, Red?
I mean, what's interesting here is that the faster of the two ESFs is on the western warp gate. We've usually been seeing the faster of the two ESFs on the eastern warp gate, which kind of helps to mitigate some of the travel distance.
So you think Emerald might do their same sort of, or at least try and do their interdiction tactic to Tumas cargo facility with the Reaver? Maybe fuel pods on the Reaver to try and get there in time?
It's possible. What's interesting is yesterday we saw that interdiction didn't really help all that much. The Eastern Gate server was able still to. They never took too much.
They got there like 10 seconds just after. The NC Reavers got there 10 seconds from the Eastern Warp Gate, something like after the VS ones, but they just flew straight onto the tech plant, and I was like, "What are you doing? Don't you see all those scythes dropping on the cargo facility?"
I think it would be interesting. I think we have yet to see someone try and interdict there and someone try and massively stop an interdiction there. That's going to prove...
A couple of infiltrators dropping at the same time as all the enemy team without paying attention, just running on the point, sting an infiltrator, flipping the point, and that just messes the whole thing up. That's all it takes. So I think both teams are alerted to the fact we've seen this twice. You'd think that maybe they'd have a plan, like a squad ready to go in and just get to the point as quick as they can.
I'm most interested to look at the NC Arsenal. The NC Arsenal in both matches here has been a really, really critical base up north. Whoever gets it, they just are able to absolutely dominate the rest of the time in those 2 or even 3 lanes up north. And it tends to be a 50-50 fight at the beginning, and I'm going to try and stick around there a little bit longer and see, does the one side get killed off? Do they leave? Do they have to go save something else? Because really, whoever gets that, they tend to dominate those top 2 lanes.
Alright, because we can see that North Grove, generally due to the proximity of the Amerish Warp Gate, the Western Warp Gate, that being Emerald, is in their favour, whereas the NC Arsenal is pretty bang in the middle and there's no real bias to either team. Rexcom Network Hub is a nice kind of balanced team base in the middle. You'd have to say Bastion has a strategic defensive benefit over, say, Crux headquarters. We saw yesterday Cobalt was trying to apply more pressure at the Bastion, but that was more of a, we're not realistically thinking we can take this base, we'll apply pressure, make sure we're fighting not on our bases but on your bases, so ours are safe. And that was really the main concept. By pushing them back to the Bastion, they were able to keep Lithcorp Central and the Rexcom Network Hub safe, so they could apply that pressure and move forward.
I think perhaps the reason why NC Arsenal is the kind of linchpin that it is in the early game is both servers have easily defensible bases immediately outside of their neutral territory. I mean, even though Bastion is probably a stronger base than Crux, they're both 3 cap point bases. You should be able to relatively easily defend those. You have Araxis Firearm Corps, which is the mirror of Bastion almost on the other side of the mountain, and the only thing that you're trying to get your hands on to do that same thing, to do that blocking maneuver, to say, you know what, I don't need to put an entire platoon here. I can maybe put less people and just let this tick down to, for 20 minutes.
And what about air-wise? I mean, Miller's done air before, and Cobalt did air, and Emerald, I don't think they did go with extreme air. I mean, they had some, but they were content to play on the ground, weren't they, and just apply pressure.
Emerald is really the oddball out as far as air. I don't think Emerald, or even Matherson, I could be wrong about Watterson, had massive air forces. It's not something that is part of their ServerSmash culture. When they do it, they pride themselves on being able to do things with infantry, and I think it'll be interesting here if Miller keeps an air force up, if they can use their air force to stop the ground pushes. We saw that brilliantly done by Cobalt yesterday.
They did split it up, yeah, and then try and apply pressure elsewhere. But certain bases don't work well with air. For example, Tumas Cargo Facility, air has limited effect, at least on the capture point. Air was really effective at killing off spawn sunderers and attackers' momentum to get to a point and to, put down spawns. But that involves a very quick reaction on the 3-minute marker roughly to get your air on site, to kill off the spawns in sufficient time so that your infantry can come in and via attrition push off the attackers off the capture point. If bases and a pressure have been applied by too many bases across the whole continent, then we'll find the instance that there's simply not enough time to save a base with a redeploy.
Right. And I think the other important part is if you're going to have air assets, you have to have them paired with something on the ground. Air alone is not going to capture the point. Air with people pushing the point is devastating. That is really something to be feared. And Cobalt was very, very good about doing that. They would move their air in smaller groups where they had people on the ground and basically say, hey guys, you go get the point. We're going to take care of everyone trying to get to you.
I'm just talking to Odin's Pride at the moment and giving him the link, saying that's the clock we're running off of. I am slowly making my way over to the Amerish Western Workgate. I assume you're going to go to the Eastern one. We're about 2.5 minutes. Oh yes, well that's about a minute, so I suppose.
Can I do my all-call real quick? Or you guys want to jump into a different channel? Or I'll do a different channel? Or just mute me?
What are you doing, how long till it starts?
Yeah.
You just call it out.
Yeah. Didn't want to interrupt you guys. You guys were talking all such good stuff. This is Odin's Pride on All Call. We are 2 minutes away from match start. 2 minutes away from match start. Thank you.
Alright, we'll be right back. We're just going to do our intro video. We'll come back. We'll be less than 60 seconds to go. And then we'll get the show on the road and see whether or not Miller can get their first victory in this tournament or whether or not Emerald can retain their ascendancy and get their second win and remain undefeated. We'll be right back.
Where we come from, we each fight for loyalty, for freedom, or perhaps enlightenment, but not here. Here we cast aside our disparate beliefs, our barriers and preconceived notions, and band together as a global force to engage in some of the largest competitive battles this world has ever seen. We are the squads, the platoons, the empires and servers, full of players coordinating a complex game of strategy and tactics. This is where combined arms happens. This is where war comes to play. This is ServerSmash.
And we are back. I love that Redland voice as always, Odin and Redland. Where is that guy from? The voice of the Redlock.
Redlock is from Recursion on Connery.
Ah, okay. Right, so we've got 30 seconds to go roughly,
30
right?
seconds.
I can already see the Reavers lining perfectly in a little arc around the warp gate. What do you think? Air split between the north and the south, just with drops?
I think so. I see a great deal of air already pulled from
10,
Miller.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go. Good luck to both.
Well, we're watching Emerald's Air Force, and just like I said yesterday, it looks like a scene from Battlestar Galactica, lots of Reavers taking off. Although it looks like most of them are going for NC Arsenal, I'm not seeing a huge drop-off to the south. It's just one death ball.
There is a large group of Miller that's also headed in. And what was interesting is that their air pull in the warp gate was a mixture. There were a lot of Liberators and even a few Galaxies in there, which is not
Oh,
usual.
let me rephrase. There is a secondary force going south. It looks like they're not going as quickly, but it seems that they're potentially heading for Tumas Cargo or the southern lane.
A massive clash of death balls over NC Arsenal. That was basically about half dropping. It looks like Miller dropped most of their people, and Emerald has kept a little bit of air assets up to try and just take out whatever's still up in the air here.
We are seeing that. I can see mainly Reavers in the skies. I don't see many Scythes, but then again, I guess I'm on the western side at NC Arsenal.
The Scythes have almost all bailed. The Reavers kept a little bit up, and it looks like the NC Emerald has 2 points controlled and are pushing hard onto B.
And the thing is, with these bases, all the terminals are destroyed, so getting there on time isn't going to help because there's no terminals to hack and no Sunders that you can pull out. You need to do that from the previous base. You'd think that this would favour Emerald because they can pull up their vehicles unmolested by air.
Speaking of vehicles, Miller VS has showed up with an entire Sunder column and multiple Mag Riders that they've also pulled as well. And we have not seen an interdiction at Tumas Cargo Facility. Tumas Cargo Facility is capping as normal.
Both simultaneously clear time. There are some numbers of NC at Tumas Cargo, but not in large numbers. We're going to see that Barrack Electrical. I'm going to start going south now.
Instead, what we saw is a massive interdiction at what is now called Nevermore, what is usually
Raven's Landing.
Raven's Landing. And they, unfortunately, despite all their people here, a single Stalker Cloak has gotten under the point. Oh, he was flipping
Not
it.
flipping.
It was so close. It was so close.
So at NC Arsenal, Emerald's got themselves all 3 capture points. But Miller's cleared the Air Force off, and I don't know where they're going. Are they going to North Grove with their air? Looks like they've got 1 Death Ball going, and who is capturing North Grove? Miller is capturing North Grove, but Emerald is outside with the spawn Sunders. Miller's got some Mag Riders, are picking off the spawns, but the capture point is being defended by at least a squad, but it's being grenaded by Emerald. And we can see extra spawn Sunders for Emerald.
Is going to have a hard time getting into this point. There is at least a platoon with very well set up engineer turrets. I actually don't see any maxes for Emerald right now, but this is a very good defense set up on Raven's Landing. And this is basically blocking any access to the middle of the map. If this continues, they are going to have a very good positioning to get the middle of the map without any fight.
North Grove is close because on the west side we have spawn Sunders for the Emerald team, but the Air Force and Miller's here and they're just systematically destroying off all the spawns. However, okay, there is still a squad on the capture point for Miller holding on to the capture. Emerald's trying to get inside, trying to push their way up the stairs. A couple of Mag Riders, a couple of Sunders on the east side for Miller. I mean, it's a very close run fight currently on the large staircase on the lower grounds, but I'd say with 1 minute 20 to go, Miller's got to have the advantage simply because they have a spawn and they have air control over the base, and then all the spawns for Emerald have been picked off.
Leave it to servers to make us liars. You know, just after we had talked about how Emerald is not really big on their air, there is an Air Force. There's at least 24, maybe 36 Miller Air hovering around the tech plant area, trying to take care of some Sunders on the ground, doing lots of groundwork and staying up.
This is another interesting fact, is that the NC Arsenal, Miller's ignored it for the first 3 minutes, but it's still a 7-minute base capture. They've applied their pressure to North Grove, deciding to take North Grove with their numbers first, and to take Araxi Network Hub first. So their numbers are on these 2 bases, and then once those 4-minute base captures are going through, which is happening just now, then they are deciding to pull in their numbers to fight at NC Arsenal. This is actually really good, smart strategic play here by Miller, choosing to go for the 4-minute cap bases, knowing that the 7-minute base cap, they can just come back in the last 3 minutes and then make a fight for it.
That interdiction at Raven's Landing is not going to be stopped. It's 11 seconds until Liftcorp caps, which means that the ascent is going to start without Miller being able to do anything about it. The Tumas Cargo Facility has almost capped. It's going to cap within 20 seconds of the Skylance battery, so we are, although Miller seems to have all their people moved to the tech plant, not...
It looks like Bark Electrical is going to be Miller's as well.
Yes. And Nevermore now has started capping in...
Okay, so that's enough. That's enough because the ascent is still a 7-minute base capture with all 3 points. So there's still a 3-minute window to move from Nevermore to the ascent. So it's not as bad for Miller.
No, that's not Miller capturing Ravens. That is Emerald capturing Ravens.
Well, again, Okay, it's bad, but it's also necessarily good because it's still of neutral base, which means when it gets down to the 2-minute marker, then it starts going in either NC or VS's favour. So Miller still has a 2-minute window, or a minute 20-second window to get to Nevermore for it to matter, and then they could still theoretically then move to the Ascent. What about the tech plant at Tumas?
The tech plant now is capturing in the favor of the VS. I'm trying to get inside to check out what they got in here.
Oh dear. The NC from Emerald may have shotguns, but Miller has brought the Fury of Vanu, also known as PPA spam, down upon Emerald. I'm having PTSD already.
There's quite a fight going on at the balcony of the tech plant right now, but there are PPA harassers that have managed to get up here, so...
Who's currently flipping the base of the tech plant?
The tech plant is going for Miller VS currently. They have some PPA harassers that are doing work, and this looks like it's going to take more than what Emerald is throwing at it to try and get them out of here.
So Miller, as in the north, they've taken Northgrove Post, they've taken Araxicum Network Hub. There's a small fight going at Luthcourt Fortress, but the ticker's not actually going down. The main fight in the north is now vying for control over NC Arsenal. Miller has got themselves control on the Charlie capture point, while Emerald retains control on the Alpha and Bravo points. Spawn Sunderers, there is still one up I see on the south for Emerald, but Miller has air control and galaxy control. It depends whether or not Miller wants to use this control of the air and the lack of spawns for the Emerald and want to push out.
And interestingly, I just ran into another Miller Air Force down here at the tech plant, and remember I had said that there was an Emerald Air Force around here. I don't know if they were beaten or if they went somewhere else, because there is no one to challenge these sites that are up currently.
The Miller Force that was Barrack Electrical, there's now an Emerald Force there I can see, 1224, but they've moved on to Aramex Chemical Co., so they've already started applying pressure. So Miller... It's very dodgy right now because the Ascent is being taken by nobody. There's nobody from Emerald there, and that's the smart thing to do. They're all fighting at Nevermore, and then next they'll apply pressure at Axis Firearms Corp. Miller's playing a big gamble here by going for the tech plant and leaving the Ascent free. So it's okay if the Ascent is taken by Emerald, for Miller that is, so long as Miller can retain ascendancy and get NC Arsenal and or also the tech plant. And that's dangerous because the Ascent's going to go through first.
The huge gamble on this map is if you push for the middle, you can wind up losing the edges. If you push for the edges, you probably will lose the middle, as happening to Miller here, but you have to get something for it. That's what Connery didn't do yesterday, and Miller is making a really, really big push to try, although Emerald is really pushing back hard against them, both at NC Arsenal, and now they're actually at Northgrove Post, capturing that behind them as well. Tumas Tech still looks like it is in control of Miller VS, and I'm down at Air Max.
What's the Air Force situation like over at Tumas Tech Plant?
Because at Tumas Tech, it is. I only see a handful of sites, but that is the only Air Force that's up here. There's maybe 12.
See, Miller is systematically pushing its way around from point to point at NC Arsenal. Just slowly grabbing all 3 points. There is some smattering of Emerald Air in the skies, but I don't think it's enough. Well, they've got some lightnings, they've got some liberators. Theoretically, they could try and pick up some spawns. Very large vehicle train coming in from Emerald to try and reinforce the NC Arsenal capture. And they've taken the C point back. That'll be due to the Sunder in the south. So the Miller Force is rotating around trying to grab points, but the Emerald Force is just ducking around them, still managing to hold on to at least 2 points to the base.
Raven's Landing has now capped in favor of Emerald, and that means that the Ascent is going to cap for free without anyone needing to be there for Emerald. Miller has decided to push onto the Bastion with a decent force. I'm going to head there right now
That's
and then
ballsy.
come back to the tech plant. I now see no evidence of any Emerald Air Force. I don't know if they... it seems unlike... Oh, never mind. I just found them at the Bastion. So it seems like we're playing hide and seek with Air Forces here, because there's a large Air Force of Miller that can come and engage this Emerald Air Force, and they're not fighting each other. Emerald's Air Force is here at the Bastion.
Emerald outpops Miller now on the NC Arsenal. It's 60 to 40, so the Miller Force is going to have difficulty. At the moment, they need to play damage mitigation by holding on to one of the capture points, just making sure that the NC Arsenal is a 15-minute base capture. Northgrove is currently ticking down. Oh wait, never mind, it's going into a defensive save, so that's fine. Bastion's still going on. We're going to go over there and have a look now. The Ascent is being captured for free. It's a shame. I'd love to see a cave fight. Can you tell me what's going on at Tumas Tech Plant? We're going to go there next.
Tumas Tech is an Eden Pop fight, but the VS Miller are really dug in here. They have done a great defense on the balcony, and from the moment it looks like Emerald isn't making a real push to get in here. They just kind of are poking their heads around the double doors on the balcony and trying to kill people. I haven't seen a coordinated max crash or anything like that. Although somebody did just destroy the SCU, I wonder if that's Emerald being proactive here. Can't tell who that was, because that actually is going to hurt Miller once they capture this base.
The token force that's currently attacking the Bastion, I mean, it really is I say a token force, 2 squads. They're being harassed by air and they're being harassed by harassers. I can see it just being a nuisance. It safeguards the Raxicom network hub, and I suppose in theory, Miller, if they did take the Bastion, that's a big if, could have 3 options to attack Lithcorp Central, Deep Core, and Foothills. Right, now we're going to go to the tech plant now. I don't think the Bastion will go through. I think they'll redeploy in time to save it.
With 90 seconds, another Galaxy drop of Emerald.
Oh yeah, we see them on the balcony.
They're going the way, however, that all their buddies have been killed recently.
And they're going in piecemeal as well. It's not in a force, and there's no Maxes to lead the charge. Oh, and PPA spam as well in the doorways. That's horrendously painful to watch. Well, the SCU generator is dead, so there is a small glimmer of hope for the Emerald forces to still maintain pressure on the tech plant on the assumption they can't get the point back. Oh man, this is painful currently to watch for the Emerald forces on this balcony. They are just being PPA'd. Oh, and Miller is actually even above them, maxing and infantrying above the balcony on the upper plateau, shooting down upon. It's just a killing field and a graveyard of Emerald.
The Air Forces did finally find each other, and I don't think Miller was prepared for this Emerald push. It's about 24 on 24, it looks like, and Emerald certainly got the drop on them. They're taking out what Scythe support there was in the tech plant area.
This is surprising because the entire defense of... No, I tell you what, this is different from when it was yesterday. Cobalt put all their guys in the balcony, but Miller is choosing to leave forces, even though the pressure's on the balcony, at watching the double door entry of the tech plant and the side staircase so they don't get attacked from behind, yet keeping their main force on the balcony, keeping the Emerald team outside. And Miller gets the tech plant. Oh gosh, the NC Arsenal, however, is down to less than a minute. We'll go back up there and have a look.
Yeah, I'm here right now, and the VS Miller have shown up with Galaxies. There is a very, very good defense on the roofs of these buildings from Miller, though. I just don't see how they're going to get anything more than the 1 point that they have. I don't know that there's enough that they can push.
1 point, and it's still 30 seconds to go. That's pretty rough. Looks like the NC Arsenal is going to fall in favour of Emerald. Miller needs to pull off some sort of mechanic where they get a point. And even then, it's going to be... the progress is going to be so heavily in favour of the new conglomerate. These guys currently in Charlie, they need to push out. Otherwise they're going to lose the base. Doesn't look like... Oh wait, I'm looking at A. Okay. Alright, there we go. NC Arsenal falls and is taken by the new conglomerate. That is Emerald. Miller is holding on to the Charlie capture point. That means Sungri Westgate is still safe. It looks like they were, for a time being, applying pressure to Lithcorp Fortress. Bastion has been fully saved in 60 seconds. That means theoretically a Raxicom network hub can be under attack. Tumas Tech Plant is safe by the Miller forces, but they're now out-popped. So where are they going? They've gone back perhaps to Rax's Firearms Corp to save their large tech plant. So their base.
Decided to try and push the tech plant now. They have put a lot of people there, and they actually have an entire platoon. They have people still over at Skylands Battery that's pushing hard on that tech plant now after Miller has moved their forces somewhere else. I don't know.
I wonder what's going on. Miller is now turned up at the NC Arsenal. It's 96 plus. These numbers that were missing earlier are now at NC Arsenal, but the problem is critically they were too late to make a difference. The base is now owned by Emerald, and this plays badly into the current meta of redeployment because Miller's going to have a huge pop sync to stay here to defend all 3 capture points. They still haven't cleared off the vehicles on the west side for Emerald. And yes, it's preventing any forward hack on Sungri West and the Raxicom Network Hub, but with the Bastion being saved, the Raxicom Network Hub could be under threat, and we already see population from Emerald there.
It's interesting. The Miller who have dropped onto... I'm sorry, the Emerald who have dropped onto Tumas Tech Plant keep on coming in Galaxies. They have Sunders pulling, and I still see no Maxes. You would think, a place a Scat Max would be really good would be in a tech plant. You can guard a doorway, you can, keep those choke points, and I still have yet to see any Maxes Emerald here at this tech plant.
What will be interesting to see is that the Araxis Firearms Corp is a wide open base. There's lots of clear spaces, and infantry that's caught in the open can easily get picked off by anti-air.
Oh my, okay. So the problem was when Miller captured this base, they did not go repair their SCU. There is no SCU at this tech plant.
Oh no. So it was down, but they left and they didn't repair it?
I don't know if they left or if they got killed off and they couldn't get here, but that is why Miller is now attacking so hard here. The SCU is down, even though the shields are up. The SCU is down, and there is a very good defense. This is going to take a lot of people coming from Miller.
Miller's spawning in currently at Araxis Firearms Corp. They've come to Araxis Firearms Corp to make the save first. So that's the 4-minute base. There's nobody at the Tumas tech plant. That's going to involve a spawn in at Tumas cargo facility, which has been partially camped by a Galaxy and a Sunder to pull in fresh vehicles, because they need to drive essentially Sunders from somewhere to get to the SU and repair it. They've got a token force, they've got 2 squads at Armex Chemical. This is interesting because Miller is going for the attack rather than defending what they have. They're losing North Grove, and they're losing Araxicom Network Hub, they're losing Araxis Firearms Corp, they're losing Tumas Tech Plant, but at the same time they are attacking the NC Arsenal and RMX. NC Arsenal is a really tough base to take. It's to be seen.
So we have some very creative harasser driving at Araxicom Network Hub. I can only assume that this is the harasser outfit from Emerald. They don't have their tag in, so it's their name tags are their thing. But we have harassers on roofs at this point, so they're being quite cheeky about this here at Araxicom Network Hub. Emerald is.
Camera a bit too fast there. Is that a change of terrain?
Clear out of that area.
No, it's not. My mistake. Oh, we can see that in the Bravo capture point of Araxis Firearms Corp, Emerald continuing to hold on to the outer balcony entrance, and Miller trying to make a push or do something, but they're being C4'd from the roof in the heavy assault and the rocket shots.
Miller has a good lockdown of the points at NC Arsenal. The force of Emerald here at Arsenal, again, there are no maxes. I'm really kind of surprised. You would think one of the huge benefits you would get by taking NC would be that you get scat maxes, and I have seen very few, if any, maxes pulled from Emerald.
It's
so far.
incredibly chaotic. Both teams are. Neither team is choosing to back down. They're all being extremely aggressive now. It's tied. It's 49-49. It is tied, but Miller is choosing not to defend certain bases. They are choosing to attack, forcing Emerald to come back and theoretically defend bases that they're not defending. Neither team's defending. So currently at North Grove Post, there is a 50-50 fight going on. So Miller's trying to defend in North Grove, but there's a minute to go. We'll go there very quickly. At Aramex, it's 50-50 population numbers as well, but that's even a small outfit fight. There's a large force at Tumas Tech Plant staying there to make sure it goes through. It looks like Miller may have saved their Araxis Firearms Corp. I'm going to go to North Grove just quickly to see what's going on. See whether or not Miller can make a save in the last 60 seconds. It looks like Emerald's Air Force is actually overhead with 20 seconds to go. Miller's trying to get to the capture point. They have no vehicle support. They have no air support. And the Spawn Sunder is right at the door for the Emerald forces. I don't see how Miller can get to this capture point and make any difference.
I think Miller has lost the tech plant. I don't see how anyone is going to get here in time.
Without that SU up. And even if the SU was up, it'd be vulnerable now and it'd be down anyway.
Mm-hmm. And the...
Is Aramax Chemical going to go for free? There's so few people there.
Looks like it's flipping back. And North Grove has just captured in favor of Emerald. Again, it looks like Miller is trying really hard to get that NC Arsenal, but Emerald has moved people in there and looks like they're pushing them back. They now out-pop them.
And this is the problem with Miller. Miller choosing to attack. The fact is, the the Emerald Force is able to get the base that they were attacking and then redeploy back to the base that they were losing and then save it. So from being a base trade scenario, it becomes an instance of Emerald takes everything. They save the base that they're currently losing and then they take the base that they're currently attacking. And that's the risk, with when you choose to attack while you're being attacked.
There is a Sunder group that is trying to get in from Miller. They're pulling from cargo. There is Liberators, and actually this looks like it's the entirety of the air from Emerald down here, just absolutely hammering them as they're trying to get in.
So there's an Emerald Air Force. Where's the Miller Air Force?
I wonder if the Emerald Air Force has kicked them off at this point. There is a large force of Miller trying to get this tech plant back now. They have Thunderers deployed in the back. They are trying to get into the stairs, and it looks like they have finally taken the point back. It seems that Emerald had actually left the point. They must have moved their people to try and guard the SCU, and Miller said, well, we don't need the SCU.
Well, Miller's actually got himself on the control point. It looks like most of the forces of Emerald are actually outside. Yes! Big forces! SCU has actually been saved and repaired, but it's been re-triggered with 60 seconds. But Miller has come back. They've timed this, let's assume they've done this intentionally, they've timed this really, really well. Last minute to go, they come back, and then they just come into those four Sunderers underneath in the vehicle bay area, just driving in, and they're able to get their forces inside. They save the tech plant. The question is, they need to save the SCU, and they need to now push off this rampant Emerald Air Force that's outside looking for any prey that it can get. Air hammers, rocket pods, we can see them outside, we can see their Emerald Sunders. So Miller's done great. They've got the initiative, they've punched in, but now they need to maintain that momentum. They need to get their SCU up online, and they need to get hold the control point long enough so that the SCU is stabilized and it cannot be re-attacked.
I have finally seen Scatmaxes here at Airmax Chemical Corps. The Emerald forces that pushed in to finally take this back and kick the VS out of here finally pulled some Scatmaxes. It's hard for me to read some of these tags, but I think I saw Goku in here, so I don't know if that was them or if there's other people with them, but finally saw some NZ Maxes.
It's a vicious fight going on at the SCU generator. It looks like Miller's reinforced. They've come to the banana building, come through from the cap, and they're just pushing now Emerald finally off the point. But it was a back and forth. Are you going to charge it? Are you not going to charge it? Are you going to come? And they're just waiting for them to poke their head out because they're using cover. It was a nice little fight. But outside the actual SCU point, there's lots and lots of Air Force for Emerald, and we still see some Sunders, although they're beginning to get picked off. The spawn room's up, the shields are up, they can fire from through the shields now. The Air Force from Emerald is still present, still bombing anything they can get their hands on. The capture point now, this is interesting. This Miller force has gone to the SU. They're now out of position, and the capture point has been recaptured by by Emerald. What's going on inside? Let's have a look. Both the vehicle terminals are dead, so that works in favor of Miller. There's nobody on the capture point, and there is maybe half a squad on the balcony. There's no reason why Miller can't use the underground teleporter pods to get, underground tunnel to get back inside. There is a Vanguard sitting sitting on the tunnel, preventing anyone from getting on the side. Miller needs to respond very quickly to get back to their capture point.
Miller's,
what are they doing?
What little Air Force Miller has up, I think, is up here in the north. They are trying to resecure Moss Ravine, which was under threat, and unfortunately by doing that, it seems like they pulled their people out of NC Arsenal, which is now being resecured by Emerald. And Emerald is also taking a Raxcom network hub. I'm actually heading over there right now to see if that's going to go through.
Miller's come into the tech plant. They've gone to the capture point, though their numbers are coming in force now. The Emerald forces, realizing how close they are on the capture point, have pulled their forces from the balcony back to the capture point. But we look at the minimap, there must be at least 2 or 3 squads from Miller zerging into the point just to force the issue. There's lots of grenades going off, res grenades, explosive grenades. I say Miller's got the numbers advantage, but they're more clumped up, so grenades are going to be more effective. I don't actually see decent spawns though for the Emerald forces. Their Sunders are so far away off to the east that I think Miller's eventually through attrition.
Away from getting a Raxcom network hub. This was great vehicle placement on Emerald's part. They had harassers on rooftops. They had harassers all over the place. They had a Galaxy blocking the entrance to that led from the spawn, and this was just captured by the cooperative. And as I said, I believe that's the harasser outfit that was driving those harassers, but I can't be sure because they don't have their outfit tag in the name.
Emerald did a lovely flank on the staircase at the tech plant. They've picked off a bunch of the Miller forces that were behind this protective screen on the cap point, but crucially, with less than 40 seconds to go, Miller does not have the control point. They're calling in extra reinforcements, income lightnings, income maxes from the balcony. With 30 seconds to go, there's no reason that Miller should lose this base. They have the numbers, they have the people. This is an exceptionally good hold by the Emerald force, with 25 seconds to go. Here comes Miller up the balcony. Here come the maxes. Most of the consumables have already been used by these Emerald forces. 19 seconds to go. Miller's going up to the balcony. Why are those maxes going up to the balcony? With 10 seconds to go, you need to get on the capture point, son. What's going on? 10 seconds. 9. What is Miller doing? Get on the point. Okay, here finally they're on the point, but 3 seconds to go. There's too many Emeralds. Is Emerald going to get the base? 1 second to go. Emerald gets the base. I do not believe it. That was a huge blunder by Miller. What were they doing? They had this base, and now this goes from a 1 second last moment capture to a this is now an Emerald base. GG guys, you now have 7 minutes of sitting here while we leave and go somewhere else. Oh my goodness, that was close, and well done to that hold. It was only like 1 or 2 squads on the capture point for Emerald. And the SCU's up to make things worse. The fact is that those long spawns from the Sunders outside on the west and east sides, now Emerald can just spawn on the capture point and reapply pressure.
This is something that we see so often in ServerSmash, where the time to get to the capture point is increased so much from live, because you have really good players who really care about what they're doing defending the point. And so just because on live you can spawn in and run to the point in 30 seconds and save it, that's not how it works here. And that becomes a problem when all of your
but the thing is,
leaders and squad leaders think about
there were
something
4 maxes, 4 Vanu maxes when the new conglomerate had none on the capture point that went up the balcony with 25 seconds to go. They went, there was barely anyone on the balcony, and even if there were forces on the balcony, it does not matter. There is less than 25 seconds to go. You go to the point, you clear out of any squishies that are there, and make it so that when your squishies get to the capture point, there isn't contention, because the simple fact is, yes, Miller got on the capture point, but Emerald hid themselves in all the little nooks and crannies in the last few seconds, and they had more bodies on the point that prevented it from flipping. Those extra 5 seconds of the maxes going in the right direction with the right guys going in the right place would have done it for Miller. Miller had enough time. It's just they messed up. Don't get me wrong, Emerald did a great job of holding it, but still.
Miller went has moved into Raven's Landing. They're trying to take that, and they also have a problem at Moss Ravine. So this is exactly what we usually see from Emerald, just the constant forward pressure on bases. Moss Ravine was resecured by Miller only a few minutes ago, and
it's been reattacked. Right, yep. We can see that Moss Ravine, Miller has lost Norse Grove, and they're now under attack at Moss Ravine, so they're fighting at their own base. Miller is also being under attack at Sungray Westgate, so Emerald is applying pressure on 2 bases in the north. In the middle, we see Miller forces are on 50-50, and they're attempting to take Raven's Landing, or Nevermore it is currently. The tech plant, the Miller force that was on the capture point has been successfully pushed off by the Emerald team. Now pressure is probably going to be reapplied to Tuma's cargo facility. The Armax attack, there are some numbers, they are beginning attack, but it's a very small token force. So in essence, we can see that there are 2 attacks going on currently for Emerald, 1 for Miller, and a base save that's almost done for Emerald with the potential of them now re-attacking. Now if we have a look at Nevermore,
Emerald is pushed into Sungray Westgate, which is very dangerous from Miller. I mean, honestly, more than defending anything else, they need to start defending this base. It is a deceptively difficult base to defend because you have to come up so many levels of stairs to get to this point. This is really a point where you kind of have to gal drop your own defenders. And I don't see enough Miller here to push Emerald off. Emerald is going to be 1 step closer to Sungray Amp Station here.
It's not the best Galaxy drop. Miller's Gal dropping in some extra reinforcements. They have a Sunder that's somewhat exposed. It's already been bombarded by Reavers and a couple of heavy assaults. And there's just too many people at Nevermore. Emerald has made a successful save, and they've just pushed off the attacking Miller. And their Air Force is here. That's another thing. The Emerald Air Force, I'm seeing it everywhere I'm going, at least in the south of the continent. And they're making themselves known. They're killing off the Miller spawn Sunders. And now Tuma's cargo facility, even though they're out pop, they are attempting to do attack. They're preventing any kind of further attack on the tech plant.
Sungray Westgate is... I can't see how this is not going to go through. Miller just doesn't have enough people pushing in. They're trying to come down the stairs to get onto the point with 5 seconds remaining. Lots of grenades going off. I just think there's too many Emerald here.
Well, it's also a roof base. In theory,
and here we go again. Miller was
point is flipping. Oh, and it's not flipping. And yep, it's a few seconds too late. Well,
they managed to get in, but that was it. Now Sungray is under threat, and that's a huge
The
danger.
problem is Miller gets the point just a little bit too late. Yes, they get the capture point, but the fact is they lose the base, and then Emerald has a whole 4 minutes to then do something and pick off. And the problem is the Miller forces, when they're defending, they don't have emergency backup sunders. So if on the worst case scenario they lose the base, as they have done, they have a backup spawn or they have vehicle control. It's always a kind of a very desperate infantry push to try and get their capture point back.
Yeah, this looked like a very, very close match in the beginning. There was a lot of aggression from both sides, and there were critical bases being taken on both sides. But since NC Arsenal has capped for Emerald, it seems like the momentum is decidedly swung in their
And
favor.
Moss Ravine is going to go in 15 seconds away, and there's just simply not enough Miller forces. They're tied up in this L-shaped building, very tightly packed. I mean, some good AV grenades and frag grenades would do amazingly well at cleaning this up, but it just doesn't look like it's happening. Even though the Miller force had the outside, had the... Another thing we don't see here, they had the outside, they had the air, they had some extra Mag Riders and Lightnings, but what did Miller not do? They didn't spawn a Sunder. They have no emergency backup spawns. So now that they have no Sunders, the Emerald force can push out and just, or spawn in from the spawn room and systematically wipe out the Miller kind of defenders now / attackers. If Miller had themselves a couple of Sunder backup Sunders here, even if they did theoretically lose the base, they can still apply pressure, keep spawning in, and take the base back immediately. And that simply isn't the case. So Emerald is doing an extremely good job at, how should I say, keeping a point, but also providing vehicles and keeping vehicle control around the base. We can see Miller's trying to get Sungry Westgate back. What's going on in the south at the tech plant / Aramax?
I was just down there. Aramax, Miller managed to get back on the point. They have a very good Sunderer place there. And Tumas cargo facility was saved by Miller. I'm actually going to head down to Nevermore and check out that fight. Or Raven's Landing. It's when they change the base names on us, we get confused.
We're currently watching the fight going on at Sungry Westgate. Miller continues to hold on to the capture point with 2 minutes to go. Looks like they do have some spawn Sunders underneath in the garage area. I think my camera's doing the whole kind of rickroll shaky. I'll have to fix that.
Miller has been kicked off of the point at Raven's Landing, and I got here just in time, basically, to watch them get kicked off. That was a good push. Again, there's only one group of Emerald that I see using maxes, and that's in the far south. No one else is using maxes. It's all basically a lot of heavies and a lot of medics. That seems to be what they're doing.
The capture point, 1 minute 35 seconds to go, 90 seconds. It's still in Emerald's favour. They've shown they're more than capable at retaking capture point. And also this capture point is pretty heavily exposed in terms of grenading through the windows and light assaults and just basically lots of flanking fire from all directions. And they've also taken the roof. That must have been perhaps a galaxy drop, and there's extra galaxy reinforcements coming in, I believe, for Emerald.
From the little amount that I've seen of the air battle, I'm actually finding the Emerald air looks like 24 to 36 over the ascent. It seems to me that both sides have a small group of air. I really doubt that either one of them have a whole platoon up, and at least from what I've seen just flying around here, I would say Emerald is winning that air dominance battle. Every time I fly over, there are Reavers. There seem to be more Reavers than Scythes when they're flying.
We just see on Sungry Westgate, Emerald successfully saves their base on that kind of critical mass 30-second marker. Just coming in with extra forces, grenades. The exposed nature of the capture point plays against the favour of Miller, and maxes and grenades and smoke. It's just totally, destroyed the Miller force.
These harassers are just devastating at Araxicom Network Hub. They have shotguns on top of harassers. They drive them right up to the door, and they just pummel everyone inside with that shotgun. And that is what that's absolutely what let Emerald push back into this capture point at Araxicom Network.
Oh, it's an evil harasser. It's got radar on as well. It basically knows where everyone is.
That was just, I mean, I know people complain about the PPA, but I would not want to be standing anywhere in that room while that shotgun was firing through the door. Tumas Tech, which started off as a small group of Miller, looks like it's turned into a full-on assault. I'm going to head down there and see if they actually have a setup and some spawns here.
Yep, and it looks like our Aramex, our Axicom Network hub is successfully saved by the Emerald Force.
I've just flown completely north to south, and the only things I have seen flying are Reavers and just general NC air. I would say it's...
I'm going to check the tech plant if you have a look at Bark Electrical for us.
Okay.
Tech plant is loose. It's a light spawn. The fact is, I think Emerald is just choosing to send token forces to see if they can make any difference. It's one squad, maybe two squads currently being a nuisance on the capture point. There's not a serious threat of grabbing the base. I mean, with 3.5 minutes to go.
More harassers from Emerald. They have gotten them, I think, down on the point.
Oh, but following that Sunder path that we saw yesterday in the Cobalt.
Yes. Yeah, they have those nasty harassers down on the point. And I actually think this is a different outfit using this here. I'm trying to see. This is Goku. This is Goku doing the same harasser trick down here.
Oh man, that shotgun harasser is being used to horrendous effect. Oh, okay, it got blown up. I suppose that's a positive for Miller. It's their base, and they've got 2.5 minutes to make a save. The Emerald Force is holding up the corners, and the Miller Force needs to apply pressure from both sides, or preferentially, because they have the time, they want to be killing off, and it looks like the spawns are dead for Emerald. We're talking about this rear Sunder.
Finally kill those harassers. So it was, we've seen really great vehicle play from Emerald so far, and I think Miller might be catching on to some of the tactics and knowing what they need to come in and do to get rid of that stuff. We'll see if that helps them do some pushes later on here.
2 minutes to go though.
Was resecured by Emerald, and that that attack was completely repelled, and again Sungray Amp Station is now under threat.
I mean, the Emerald team is doing an extremely good job of holding onto Bark Electrical Station with what they have. Miller is just completely surrounding them and systematically pummeling them down. And the important thing is they have the time. The numbers are also 50-50, so it's not like they're over-committing any extra numbers. Emerald, however, has brought a very important Sunder back in to the east side of the base. It looks like they're gonna set... Where are you going? You can't deploy up here. Are you gonna be a combat Sunder? Okay. They've not got the capture point, they don't have a spawn Sunder, and yet the Sunder wants to come in and be a battle Sunder when they don't own the base and they can't deploy. He's got a double Bulldogs. I'm not sure how this is really going to work. It'd be far more beneficial if they had the point, then had the Sunder. Yeah, that was pointless Sunder. You realistically should have set up in the garage, or at least on the flank and the side, and then fresh reinforcements, because now Emerald has no spawns. And they've lost the base, so I'm going to say poor play there with that Sunder. If they already had a Sunder that was deployed, then absolutely go ahead right inside and be battle Sunder. But I would have probably said Furies rather than Bulldogs since the last nerf.
Miller is trying desperately to get into Sungray Westgate, but unfortunately they find themselves not on the roof. Oh, never mind. They just put some beacons on the roof, and they're trying to push down onto the point. I think, unfortunately, that they're locked out of this point. I think Emerald has gotten behind them onto Sungray.
Yeah, they have 2 minutes. They've got all 3 capture points.
That's a huge danger now for Miller. Miller has to respond. They have to take everyone out of this base and immediately go back and kick them off.
Yeah, we're looking at the first set of shields. The things that don't really matter about the external shields. They want to hold on to 3 capture points. And okay, Miller's beginning to flip the challenge point. These points take a lot longer than standard points to flip because they essentially give you like a hard spawn.
And unfortunately, this is the kind of base where you can send 12 guys to flip all 3 points and then spawn in 96 because you get those hard spawns at the base. And I think that's exactly what Emerald was doing.
Huh, there's actually an alert going on in Indar. I totally missed that.
There's a pumpkin...
Well, if anyone goes and gets pumpkins from the factions, that really is forbidden because then there's on a different con.
Miller looks like it has gotten back B point. And A is flashing. I'm heading over there right now.
They have popped 2-to-1 numbers, so they did take their people back from Sungray Westgate. The Moss Ravine attack is still going on, but only a token 5% extra overpop. Emerald, and I'm not liking this from the Miller because, as we see, there's no spawn Sunder. So there are no. Well, we'll have a look. Emerald forces are wrapping around the building. The Emerald, now this is an important difference than we had from last time. When Miller had this base and they were trying to get the base back, they were just running in from the spawn to the point. Emerald, however, and there we see the spawn sunder for Miller. This is their base, they're trying to get the capture point back, but look at this, 3, 4, 5 Sunders on the minimap. They have contingency plans in place if they lose the base. They can continue to apply pressure, and they're even using said vehicles to bombard the living nuts out of this kind of inner walkway. Look at that Sunder there, double Bulldogs pounding into this doorway. That's good play there by Emerald.
Emerald has also managed to push back onto Araxis Farm Core. They own all 3 points and are now pushing on what should be one of the more defensible bases for Miller. I do not see a Miller force coming in to try and deal with this. And Miller has not really affected the air for about 15 minutes, as far as I've seen. This is I see Emerald having air dominance both north and south.
Actually, there's a very large Miller air wing in Sungri.
Hello, Lanzer. I didn't know you joined us.
Welcome to the party, anyway. Yes, we did notice the Emerald getting pounded by Miller's air group, or at least fresh spawns of Miller air. We can see that one of the capture points is still being held onto by the Emerald ground forces. I think they just want to be a nuisance, prevent the Miller force from fighting at Sungri Westgate, basically, because there's 2 squads from Miller waiting to flip the point at the Sungri West, but the actual Sungri point itself, C point looks like it might fall sometime soon if you look at the minimap. This whole squad of New Conglomerate, they're obviously running to the Alpha capture point, and if they can get there just in time, the C point is still being held. That's what's going on at the C point.
It's a nice air battle at Sungri right now.
I don't want to give the one outfit undue credit if it's not them, but I assume that this is ECUS again at Crux headquarters, because while lots of people pull harassers, they don't put them on rooftops, and every time I come in and I see a harasser on a rooftop, I just have to assume that it's the guys who make this they're living in the game to drive these things. This is a small group attacking Crux headquarters, and this is an incredibly dangerous base from Miller's perspective. If you lose this, it's just weak soft pink flesh beneath this. They can run right into your warp gate. So even though this is a small group, you have to respond. You have to come take this base back.
At Sungri Amp, the attacking Emerald forces, they ran from Charlie, leaving a token defensive force with the intention of running to A to flip the Alpha capture point, simply just to stall time, because 2 squads of Miller were doing nothing at Sungri West. And now, as the Emerald force are slowly being picked off, extra reinforcement. Yeah, so the defending force, or sorry, the attacking force of Miller that was at Sungri West has now been pushed off, and Moss Ravine has been successfully now saved. As for Araxis Farms, that's the next crisis currently going on for Miller. Miller needs to defend their large outpost at Araxis Farms Corp, and they also need to save Tuma's cargo facility, and that's quite a tricky base. But at the same time, I like the fact that Miller is trying to attack. Normally, I would be of the opinion that realistically, you want to defend what you have and then attack what you don't. But the simple fact is, Emerald's applying pressure everywhere, and if Miller doesn't attack, then they'll never have how can I put this? It will never be uncomfortable for Emerald. They'll always attack, and Miller will always defend because they want to defend what they have.
Miller is 90 seconds away from Araxis Farm Corps, and I just do not see any Miller anywhere near
look at the vehicle setup here. This is great. Not only does Emerald continue to contain or continue to hold air control, so there's no Miller Air Force pounding away at all these spawns. They have lots of Sunders. Look at, there's the one at Bravo, there's one at Charlie, there's 2 underneath the bridges, there's and there's even one a little bit off on the minimap. Can't really see him, he's probably down under these trees. The fact is, they have lots of Sunders as backup, and they even have battle Sunders inside the base itself, just applying extra pressure. This is a very, very good setup from Emerald, and Miller, without an Air Force, are stuck. They can't kick off those spawns, and I guess we had complaints yesterday that we're too critical. Today we're far too complimentary. Emerald is playing the better game at setting up for the base and going for the capture.
And that's the thing, when you have these bases that you're letting the enemy sit on before you come back, you have to realize that allows the enemy free reign to come in and do spawn contain and set up the best possible way they can before you even get there. And that's exactly what Emerald's doing, both with their harassers and with other things. Miller has managed to get, I thought they had gotten 1 point back at Araxis, but they did not, and we're now 27 seconds away from Araxis falling for...
We see the desperate last second stream now incoming from Miller. They're making the push out. They know they need to get 2 capture points. They're pushing perhaps for Charlie. Oh, look at this harasser with his shotgun. He's going to be a pain in the backside. From as Miller's push is stalled, they've taken the first building. They've got themselves Charlie Point. Was that an infiltrator, perhaps? Looks like it. No, it was a light assault. He's stalling for time. He's worth his weight in gold right now because the Miller force is applying maximum pressure on the B. They've managed to get themselves to A point. Is this a final last-ditch save by Miller? Looks like it. Looks like they have the numbers coming in. If we check the population numbers, they do outnumber now the Emerald forces 2-1.
Southern Miller Air Wing's at Araxis, and the Southern Emerald Air Wing is at Aramax.
Yes, and Aramax, that air wing just defended their point for them.
Actually,
there was a small.
There's about to be a good air battle.
Where?
There was a
Araxis.
small.
Right over Araxis, the two Southern Air Wings are flashing.
Got it. Thank you.
They finally notice each other.
And the Miller Air Force, I did notice, was systematically taking out the Emerald's spawn sunders, but now, gotta say, I think there's more Reavers than there are Scythes.
Yeah, it looks like the Emerald is starting to overcome them a little bit. It's not over yet. Emerald is doing a great job doing 2-on-1.
Go by that side.
The harassers at Crux headquarters, I just caught on stream the bug where it ejects you out of your vehicle 50 feet in the air. I watched the guy hop out of the vehicle and just drop like he was coming out of a galaxy and almost
Mid-air collision.
In mid-air collision, I saw that. Yeah, that was nice. Oh, we're seeing a Scythe following a Reaver with a PPA, being followed by an air hammer, then killed off by airlock-on missiles. And that's the thing about such a massive air fight like this. It doesn't matter how good of a pilot you are, when there's so many enemy planes, and it's just a massive fight on fight, Coyotes and air lock-ons, it's usually whoever has the larger air force will win.
And it looks like Emerald
has air control, but ground-wise, they have all 3 capture points are in the hands of Miller. And Miller's at the same time lost Tuma's cargo facility. So they saved the Araxis Firearms Corp because that's more valuable in terms of a large outpost, but they've lost Tuma's cargo facility and they're falling ever more further behind. Emerald is currently on 57 points compared to Miller's 41.
Miller did a great resecure of Sungray Power Hub, but they are getting absolutely hammered by grenades on this point here. I don't know if they can hold on. This looks like a very, very strong push back to the point from Emerald at Sungray Power Hub. And this is something that Miller really needs to try and hold this point so that they have the opportunity to push out from the other base in the south. We saw yesterday that once Connery was pushed back to the single base at the biolab, there was really no chance of them pushing back onto the other bases.
Oh, and that Liberator suicided into the Reaver. At least he got his kill out, otherwise he would have died. So he got something for his troubles.
Miller did manage to win the res grenade spam fight at Sungray Power Hub, and it was very dicey there for a moment, but they did manage to win that fight, and that is a little bit sigh of relief for them because now they can force all of their people over into the Sungray Westgate fight to protect their amp station up in the north.
But look how many. There's a huge Emerald force at the amp station right now. And they're beginning to flip the points. I mean, look at that. That's 96 plus. We can see the Emerald hand is being played. And then crucially, Emerald has got the cap first. At Sungray, we can see there's half a platoon of Miller waiting to attack Sungray West Gate. That's not going to matter. With 2 full platoons plus at Sungray Amp Station, the entire Miller force is going to have to come back. And 3 capture points are systematically being captured now by the Emerald team. And
I think Miller needs to figure out a way that they can resecure Sungray Amp Station while keeping people forward at the base. There's not that long.
Even 1 or 2 people, and then a couple of beacons, or a Sunder spawn in, or the Sunder with stealth or something. The thing is, right now they're trying to contend for the Air Force. Now their team is bombarding the amp station itself because they're just having a very high altitude air fight over Sungray Power Hub.
It's been like that for the past 10 minutes, but the Miller Air Force in the north just has not let go of Sungray. They've pretty much been the dominant factor here for a little while now.
Araxis Firearm Corps is back under 2 points are under control of Emerald, and even though this looks like an even pop fight, I'm trying to see what air is up here. Oh no, okay, so everyone's down here has to be on the ground. And this is the danger now. When you have these bases that have capped so far but not actually captured for the enemy, you still have to sit here and defend them. And we saw this in Emerald's last match, where they basically just let bases keep ticking with small groups of people and then would send in larger forces to try and take them later.
Well, the 3 capture points in the Sungri Power Hub, they're still technically in hands of Emerald. Looks like Miller's dropped on the B capture point, and B is one of the best defended points, but it looks like that's a lot of Miller on the B capture point. It looks like see the population numbers, it's 50-50, so Miller has responded in kind, got a large number of force, come back to the Sungri Power Amp Station. And it looks like they're going to make the save as necessary. Crux headquarters, as you said, there's a small incident going off. Arax's Firearms Corp, they're just under 2 platoons. It looks like it's being saved by Miller, but to 1 point is being held. Barrack Electrical looks like it might flip sometime soon in terms of favour of Emerald, at least in the capture, or sorry, the attack.
The amp station is a huge danger.
I like the fact that Miller's actually got himself a spawn sunder up. You're saying, Lanzer?
Dislodge the Miller Air Force over Sungri, but they've just been perfectly content down in the south where Nevermore is.
Miller's using almost biolab tactics here at Sungri Amp Station. One giant death ball of infantry moving from B off to A, overwhelming the defenders of Emerald, and then presumably they're going to be moving off to the Charlie capture point next.
You know, you mentioned that it looked like Barrack was going to go in the favor of Emerald, but Miller has managed to get a small squad behind them in Air Max Chemical and trap them back.
That's nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, the thing is, how quickly can that Miller force from Barrack Electrical get to our Max Chemical? And it's not just getting there just in time with just a squad to hold it just. You have to do what Emerald is doing, where they attack a base, but they set it up perfectly. They have as many sunders as they possibly can spread out around the base, and they have vehicles on the capture point providing extra fire support multipliers, and then they have that 1-2 squads. So when the defenders come in, they need to deal with the extra vehicles, they need to deal with the extra kind of spawn areas that the air can't necessarily clean up, and it gives the attackers that 1-2 minutes extra time to call in extra reinforcements or to push a base capture if it's 50-50 on the population numbers.
Nice. There's a nice Miller armor column going into Rex's firearms. Not sure what good it'll do since they already own most of it.
Oh wait, there's a claim here in the stats. Let's bring this up. We're on the 1 hour 7 minute marker. I was going to have a look at the stats in the 1 hour, so I'm just going to back up a second here and have a look at the stats. See the map timeline. We were roughly even for the first half hour, but since then, Emerald has systematically been pushing base after base and getting a small lead over Miller. It's only a couple of bases, we're talking about 3 or 4, and Miller can definitely get back into this if they get their 8 game back, but right now we're seeing Emerald applying the pressure.
And the amp station, despite Emerald's large air presence above it, is 40 seconds from capping. They have not managed to get another cap point back, and this is... you need to get your people out of the air and onto the points at this point, Miller.
They've got 1, the B point's lost, the C point, oh, they're outside it, they're flipping it now, there you go. Numbers pushing in very heavily. It was only a token force that was on the Charlie capture point. Okay, so as we're saying, the stats wise, we can see that roughly about 1,500 more kills even before the 1 hour marker. So we can see that the Emerald Force is definitely doing a much better job in terms of kills or out progressing their Miller counterparts. And then finally, leaderboard stats. Let me refresh this. Yep, we see, look at the top 10. All Emerald forces, and we look at the outfits. Punaner slaves is tops. I think everyone has just kind of gone to one outfit. There's a couple of outfits you might recognize there. Weapons, I do not believe it. I don't believe it. The Anchor is in the lead. The Orion's in second place. What's going on? What madness? Is this why Miller's losing? Because they're not using the Orion?
VS is UP, please buff. Buff the Orion.
I mean, the Orion's in second place by a good 400 kills. The anti-vehicle grenades are, anticipatably third place. The SMG Cyclone's in fourth place. Then it's the SV-88. Then comes the Carnage, the EM6, the Blue...
one of the problems I see with the Sungray thing of the fact that Miller has to spend so much defending their amp station. They are about to lose Sungray Power Hub. They haven't sent anyone back over here to defend it, and this is going to really screw up that north lane for them, because now they have just one base that they have to. They have two bases they have to push out of, where Emerald has only one they have to push into.
Currently 113 slasher kills. At the vehicles, we see that the Reavers are outperforming the Scythes in terms of kills by roughly 2 to 1. It's 900 versus 600. Sunders are 300. Galaxy's 234. Harassers 183. Then come Lightning's Liberators, Mag Riders. Not any Vanguards. So, and actually 13 kills for Valkyries so far. So the Valkyries are doing better.
And Punenner's Slaves capture Sungray Power Hub. So now this north is down to a single base. All Emerald can pile everybody they want onto Sungray Amp Station, and Miller is going to have to push out to 2 different bases to secure their amp station.
That's tricky. I mean, that's very, very hard because they can constantly be chipped away at, and then they'll always have to come back. Crux headquarters, small token force being a nuisance. I mean, for the Miller forces, they can push for Araxicom Network Hub, maybe try and get a base there. The other push is they need to save Araxis Firearms Corp, though. It's constant pressure being applied to. They save it, but they don't have that full kind of save to then move out. The fact is, Araxis Firearms Corp, they could attack Nevermore, which is Raven's Landing, and they could attack Tuma's Cargo Facility. 2 good bases that they can apply pressure to. In the south, it's good that Miller's got themselves Barrack Electrical, and they're holding on to it, but they're never making any progress on RMX Chemical.
It's like there's a
bit too fast. You can see the Emerald forces brought lots of Sunders into the Alpha capture point. It doesn't look like they maybe have infantry there. There's too many Miller forces just systematically picking them off.
Miller has managed to recapture Araxis Firearms Corps. It is a 50-50 fight, though, so this keeps them going back and forth. And this is exactly what Emerald wants. Emerald wants to at least keep things ticking and make Miller spend more forces than they possibly can. If they're busy dealing with you at these bases, they can't attack you.
Well, and the other thing is, because of the pushback of the game mode, we're now down to 4 lanes. We've got Sungray Amp Station is lane 1, Crux Headquarters is lane 2, Araxis Firearms is lane 3, and the fight between RMX Chemical and Barrack Electrical Station is lane 4. Now that is a very condensed number of lanes for 288 versus 288. Miller needs to apply pressure somewhere, somehow, and force a base. If they can save Araxis Firearms Corp, they can make that twin lanes by going for Nevermore or Tuma's Cargo Facility. If they can somehow save Sungray Amp Station and apply pressure to Westgate or Power Hub, then they can open up the lanes, and we can go from 4 lanes back up to 7 again. And the thing is, though, Emerald's done a really good job at condensing the lanes, basically moving the forces where they need to be when necessary. Miller, by pushing out and spreading out again, I don't know if they can handle it. But the thing is, they have to. This is
It's an interesting strategy on Amerish as opposed to Hassan, where Hassan, it tends to be the more you attack, the more lanes you open, and it makes it very difficult for people to defend because there's just too many options. Here, it makes it very difficult to push back out. It starts
with a lot of lanes, but then it condenses if you begin to consistently lose territory across the board.
Emerald has a very tenacious attack going on at Sungray Amp Station. They are on both B and C. I'm currently at C. And
which base?
There just aren't enough grenades coming through the door. I wonder if Miller is resource starved right now. They have to be doing so many redeploys, using grenades, using C4, using maxes, and it's possible they just don't have the grenades to chuck in this door right now.
Still pulling plenty of vehicles, Mag Riders and Sunders on the external side of the base. I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to do around the north. Maybe systematically picking up the last Sunders outside, but because of the hard spawns, I think it would be better served by being inside the base. Or at least having some form of anti-air. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just a squad, they're just picking off the external Sunders.
Miller looks like they're trying to get the B point back. They're in the stack building, they're pushing up the stairs, and it looks like they might have broken it here. But there's so many maxes from
they're all up with AP. The Mag Riders are, so they're definitely going Sunday hunt.
thing is the maxes right now. You see all those grenades going off from the upper Bravo capture point. It's just murder. And that's the current way the meta is. Grenade usage has just gone up exponentially since the latest resource patch, about a month or two ago. And with grenade bandolier and grenades, and the ability you having so many people in such a small place, you just get maximum effect with the grenade spam. And they get the capture point back.
Core is still under threat. This is we've seen this so often from Emerald. They just never leave. They, you know, a server will think that they have resecured something and they actually haven't. And here,
this is the thing. Emerald brings so many spawns. Oh wow! Check that Air Force. I mean, it is just being. They really want this base. They really want Araxis Firearms Corp, and they have complete air control, pounding anything that comes at the spawn room. I think, okay, so yes, Miller has the alpha capture point because they can teleport to the teleport building and get into A, but they're still losing the base. They need to get themselves Bravo or Charlie. Charlie's got a horrendous run beyond this Tetris building to get to the point. The Bravo capture point, on the other hand, they have to go through Tetris or light assault over, so it's also a difficult capture point to get to.
This is what Miller does. Time I have ever seen Emerald use air like this. This is, you know, I mean, there were times where Emerald was openly hostile to using air like this, and here I think they're trying to show everyone, hey, we can play this game too. They have had air dominance the entire match, and they are using it to exceptional effect.
The thing is, Miller just tried to do a light assault push for the Bravo capture point, but okay, maybe you see what this light assault does. The fact is, there's so many air hammers and infantry just waiting outside for them, daring them to come out. It's bloody murder.
Well, they've had air dominance in the south, but in the north, Miller is the dominant presence.
Before you showed up, they were everywhere. Barrack Electrical Station is also being capped. It looks like unopposed, with 1 minute remaining for Emerald, and there's nobody here to stop this.
The thing is, there's some lightnings, 4 lightnings at the point, but there's 6 seconds to go. Miller, alright, now I think they're maybe making a strong push on the B point. They're outside on the side. Oh, there's not enough. They lost it. We can see a lot of Ginyu Force rules now because Goku takes the base.
And it looks like they're going to lose. They're going to lose Barrack Electrical too. So all the fighting that Miller just did over Araxis Firearms, they're going to lose 2 bases within 30 seconds of one another, because there is, in fact, Emerald is so confident they're going to take this base, their maxes are redeploying.
But the thing is, it has to be the Air Force. The reason that Araxis Firearms Corp was so heavily in favor of Emerald there at the end was that the Air Force was all dominant and all power, keeping the Miller Force suppressed in the spawn room.
And here comes Miller trying to spawn in to Barrack.
On 8 seconds to go, it takes more than 8 seconds to get to the capture point.
And they just all got C4'd at the stairs as well.
Oh, look at that C4 right there. Oh, there it goes. Too little, too late. And that's the problem. There's even a backup Sunder for the... And there's no backup Sunder for the Miller. They come too late to a base that's been prepared, and they don't have a backup Sunder. And Emerald has a backup Sunder when they're coming to a defense and their Air Force picks off the enemy Sunders, but there's no backup Sunder, so they can't apply the pressure, keep the pressure up at this base, simply because they just simply can't spawn in anymore.
It's important to note, so Miller's Air Force is now over the Araxis Farm Corps area. They were too late to get here, and I don't believe that they were as numerous as Emerald's Air Force, although it's possible that they beat them and lost some people. But one thing that Emerald's Air Force has been exceptionally good at is utilizing their power on the ground, whereas we saw the Miller Air Force, even up in the Sungray lane, they weren't able to utilize their weapons in such a way to hold points and work with the ground troops. However Emerald's doing that, Emerald is managing to work with ground forces, use their air to just trap people and kill spawn Sunders and stop them from coming certain choke points. And this Miller Air Force, which has managed to get back to a base they desperately need to get back, needs to be able to do that.
So let's have a look at the map then, with 55 minutes to go. Sungray Amp Station is currently safe. Power Hub is under attack, but it's about to be saved. Sungray West is being attacked, but they're outpopped, and that's probably going to be saved by Emerald, but we'll go over and maybe have a look. Araxis Network Hub was under attack, but is now being saved. Araxis Farms Corp has been lost by Miller and is now in the hands of Emerald. Still to see whether or not they want to apply pressure to a substation.
There is an entire platoon of Scat Maxes about to crush Sungray Westgate. I'm trying to find them on the stairs. It's like a conga line. I can see them on the mini-map.
So that's why the air wing is now relocated. Because now the Emerald air wing is in the north and the Miller air wing in the south. They swapped.
So
That's the problem with this particular base, Sungrid Westgate, is that it's so incredibly exposed. I mean, that's a horrendously painful max crash. Don't get me wrong, that would have probably worked on any base. But if we were to have a look at Sungri Westgate, there is the balcony entrance. There's 2 windows on the west side. On the east side, we have 2 windows on the east side. Then you have to take into consideration the 2 staircases on the roof, and then you have to take in the 2 staircases to the ground floor. And you just realize that the capture point is mega exposed.
We need to call out ServerSmash NC, I think 038 has he has special armor. You only get special armor one way, guys. That was money.
Composite?
Emerald, no, he has yellow colored armor in his Scat Max right now. You can't get cosmetics
camo.
here, so he paid for camo. We knew that people had paid for camo.
Well, don't forget, somebody paid for camo before, so maybe he's just using that account.
It is possible that the person playing that account didn't pay for it, but somebody paid for camo on that account right there, because it's the only way you get it.
Hey man, if I'm going to play ServerSmash, I'm going to look fabulous. Moving down to Barrack Electrical Station, again.
Barrack Electrical is they are able to get it if Miller pushes there, but they have already been backcapped behind the side to Araxian Cryobank. They still
But High Roads is possible. Oh, what is going on here? Miller drove a Sunder next to the Emerald Sunder, but didn't kill the Emerald Sunder. Now the Emerald Sunder is going to be saved, and oh, that's painful.
Really big air battle over Raxus.
Okay, well, the Miller's brought lots of Sunders, and they've got a deployed Sunder on the eastern entrance. They've got repair Sunder in the back. Nobody's staying to defend it, though. I'd like to see some people watching this entrance, preventing, because look, these guys are going to come in, see these Sunders, and pick them off, because there's no one defending. What is that? Nice! The grenades are on your head. Ah, not a deployment Sunder. I think he even gets him, he's flash. He's like, see you later, guys, I'm off. Oh, wait! The debris! What's he gonna do? Oh, he survives, barely. Still, like I said, a non-defended exit point on the Sunders means that those were picked off for very little, resistance. In terms of the actual capture point, we do have PPA harassers. This is good. The Sunders on the inside can't deploy, but at least if they're doing it properly, the squads can actually spawn in, so long as they've distributed the different Sunders to different outfits. Or different squads, I should say.
Air dominance in the map.
Look at that PPA spam. Problem is the harassers are pinned in because they can't reverse and get out of firing line because of the other one, so this guy's going to get picked up because he can't further back up. This chap does not have an engineer backup. We saw earlier Emerald was actually repairing their harassers, and none of the harassers don't have it. And to be honest, these Sunders that are in, these shouldn't be blockade Sunders per se. Yeah, there we go, repair Sunder. That's what I was after, to see whether or not they'd have some sort of repair. We'd like to have 2 on both sides though, which they don't have. And there's 2 harassers are down, so we're down to the last one harasser providing PPA support. 2 minutes to go though. This is getting pretty sketchy. Okay, we do have...
We're now to the point where Emerald is attacking enough forward that they are opening lanes again, and this in a way actually helps them because now they can do their classic move of putting small groups of people everywhere and saying, where are you going to defend, and we're just going to move everyone else there. They're attacking a Raxacom substation with about 24 to 48 people. They are attacking Raxian Cryobank with about the same number of people. They are back on Sungray Amp Station. Sungray Amp Station is in great danger, and they look like they have, I'm going to bet it's those harassers, back on Crux headquarters again. So there are lots
I'm
of...
going to go check Cryobank. If you would just watch Barrack Electrical for me, because it's only got 6 seconds to go.
I'm actually heading up to Sungray Amp Station.
Alright, Lanza, can you check Barrack for me?
Barrack?
Yep. With 60 seconds to go, I'm having a look at Cryobank, because it's a base we don't normally get to see, and the capture point isn't exposed to air or vehicles, but it is a very exposed infantry with their upper raised platform overlooking the capture point. Looks like there's a small token force, 2 squads maybe at most, of Emerald overlooking the cap point. Miller is beginning to rotate around to the 3 entry points, firing in smoke. No maxes, but they do have a motion sensor for Emerald. I'm not seeing any maxes, however, for the Connery. Sorry, God, why do I keep saying Connery? For the Miller. So, to be seen here what Miller can do. It looks very ragtag. Miller's got their own motion sensor up, but it doesn't look like it's any form of organized attack into this capture point. It's just ragtags from different bunch of doors. And no maxes either. I love these engineer turrets preventing the entrance from that doorway. It just seems that it looks like it's maybe Ginyu Force from Goku here. They seem to have a well laid out defense on this capture point, and Miller's just sending ragtag outfits or squads in, and they're going to lose the base. They should have had the save here. And there you go. Cryobank falls.
And I mean that's a problem, because now they can be doing the same thing to you at Granite Valley Garrison. They can just drop their. That's a tower facility. It's a little bit harder to take, but I don't think at this point Emerald.
Wow, PPA Force has actually worked to Barrack Electrical. That's impressive. Now these Sunders can actually deploy. Is someone smart enough to realize that he can actually deploy the Sunder now, at least inside the capture point area? It's very important for Miller to take this base.
Desperately trying to stave off the Emerald offensive. But the Emerald's definitely coming in one door. It doesn't look like they're utilizing both. Oh, I spoke too soon. They're hitting them from both sides. And now the A-point's just getting pounded.
The Twin Fury Sunders, though, the vehicles were really buying themselves lots of time. But the fact is, Miller has now lost the capture point just by the overwhelming numbers of outnumbered 2-1. And the question is, what do they do now? There's a small token attack going at Cryobank to stop anything going at Granite Valley, but Granite Valley is a 7-minute base capture because it's a large outpost. The Barrack Electrical is going to be going back the way now in favour of Emerald, but the fact is it's a 4-minute base capture because Miller took it, so does Miller come back and defend here? At the same time, High Rose is unmolested, although we do see maybe some people, they're probably Air Force. And it looks like the fight is moving from Araxicom Firearms Corp to Araxicom Substation. So
there was a very large infantry push at Araxicom Substation from Miller trying to take this back, but it is a excellent defense setup by Emerald here.
This base is horrendous with air.